What's up, fantasy people? This is Tyler, Big Turd Ward, and Jason, the Lucky Bastard Youth and Wolt, coming at you live from two different places. And this is the Fantasy Football Show. Today's episode, Week 14, weekend wrap up. Jason, did you watch a lot of games yesterday?
I did. I feel like I did, but is it ever enough? No. NFL package is way too much.
You just get the do you just watch free cable, or how do you watch?
No, I pay for my cable.
I get the free stuff, man. It's a law. They've got to broadcast it free. Ha! Please don't vote against it. That's the only, otherwise this show is not going to exist. Anyways, Jason and I are both poor, and what this episode is we're just going over the games that we actually watch with our own eyeballs. So we get to watch like 3 games pretty much a Sunday, and then we're just picking the best ones out of those pretty much. So Jason, you want to tell these people how they can help this channel out real fast?
I sure can. If you guys will do us a favor and like this crap, we enjoy it, like it. This crap needs to be liked. Also, a subscription can go a long way. We had quite a few these last 2 weeks. You could say our channel is on fire. We get like 3 subscribers, and I feel like we're on fire. We got awesome comments over the weekend. Oh my God, they were great. Really had us thinking. Love the interaction. And yeah, so if you could please like, subscribe, and leave us some comments, that'd be great. Also, brand new to the show, we started a Instagram, That Fantasy Football Show. On Instagram, we're gonna eventually
the fantasy football and show. You said that fantasy football, like that 70 show. You said, but it's the fantasy football and show on Instagram.
The Fantasy Football and Show on Instagram. One of these days, we're going to figure out how to put a little link here for you guys to subscribe. Get some more content. If you don't really like the YouTube or you want some more of it, are you always on Instagram? We're going to have a setup for you. Tyler, we already have Tyler's video on there of Mike Williams being a Lego set, and it's hilarious. I love it.
Yeah, I don't have Instagram. Thank you for that, Jason. I am not that social media kind of a person, but here I am broadcasting to whoever will watch. Anyways, the guy and specifically the guy's name, I think it was Bobby, but when I went back, it was 214AX. I think he might have been our 41st subscriber. Thank you so much, man. And I know you asked a question right before the game started, and I was getting my barbecue ready. But Jason, it was what? Amari Cooper, like over 75 yards. You took the under, I took the over because of the targets. And I was wrong on that. The targets didn't mean anything. And Donovan Peoples-Jones was the guy that was getting the targets. But what's his name? Amari Cooper actually hurt himself too during that game a little bit. So that didn't help. And then the other one was what was that? If Ezekiel Elliott got more than 75 yards. And I was like, oh, that was a super smash over against the Texans. And the Texans made that a game, Jason.
Yeah, well, I think it was Amari Cooper at 59 reception yards.
Is that what it was?
And then it was Ezekiel Elliott with like 75 or 79 yards. Ezekiel Elliott got that by 1 yard.
Yeah, dude. I was very surprised because you watch the first half of that game, and then it's just like Houston just kept on coming. I thought the Dallas Cowboys were gonna be up by like 30 and just run the ball so much.
Yeah,
didn't work out that way.
I'm with you on that one too. And the good thing was it's for that betting, it was Ezekiel Elliott for rushing and receiving yards combined. So with combined, he got 80 yards. Amari Cooper, he was 2 receptions for 40 yards, I believe.
Yeah, he had 7. Yeah, he had 7 targets, but Deshaun Watson's not going to be as good as is not going to be as good as you think anytime soon. And so yeah, he's not on the waiver wire show anymore because you can't trust him through the fantasy playoffs right now either.
Yeah.
So anyways, Jason, also, hey, Dad, Jeff Ward out there turned 67 today. I just got off the phone with you. I love you. Happy birthday. All right.
Jeff the dad.
Vikings versus Lions, Jason. The Vikings versus the Lions.
Yeah, what an interesting game this was. Oh, there we go. We get what you just said, Vikings and
I
Lions.
know.
This game, going into this game, if all of our fans are wondering why my hat's backwards, I never do this ever since I graduated high school. I don't know, because now, I want to wear it normal, like how it's supposed to be wore. But I'm feeling a little Detroit, little Marshall Mathers, little Eminem, the real Slim Shady. The Lions and the Vikings game was kind of crazy. The Lions looked like how they were in the beginning of the year. They got some people healthy. They had their wide receiver corps healthy. And this is an outcome that can happen, right? Tyler, you mentioned in the beginning of the year they were having one of the best offensive seasons and the worst defensive seasons. And that was, at the time historic, but then a lot of injuries started happening and they couldn't really produce on the offensive side. Now they're back being healthy, and people are starting to think like, well, if they don't make playoffs, Jared Goff still might be the quarterback for next year too.
Hey, dude, watching that game, he must have been dealing with some injury in the middle of the year. Maybe it was offensive line issues. And number one, the Vikings defense, I can tell you right now, they were leading the league in sacks like through the first like 8 weeks or something. They've been atrocious over the last month plus. So it wasn't surprising to me that Detroit had such a good game. I was just surprised that their defense showed up so well against Minnesota. And then watching that game, dude, like I wish we had Jared Goff on our team because he had everybody was wide open for them, it seemed like, but at the same time, dude, he's throwing the ball where it needs to be. And going through this, like especially watching Tua, yesterday and everything, it's like, dude, Jared Goff is a good quarterback. If you give him a little bit of time, I was surprised by how well he's playing. He threw for over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. Now he went 300 and something and 3 touchdowns this week. I haven't even pulled up my stats yet, but he's on my waiver wire list, dude. Let me check this out, dude. Where is this guy? He's only 30% owned, I'm pretty sure. So, that's insane, man. And like, you could start him. Who does he have next week? I'm pretty sure they're going against the Jets next week, though. Yeah, they're going against Jets next week, so you might not want to start him next week.
Yeah. Well, fantasy managers out there probably did the same thing. What I did was I was having quarterback issues. Russell Wilson was my quarterback. So I went after Jared Goff because he was playing pretty well in the beginning of the year. But by the time I picked him up, he wasn't playing well. And then he had that stretch for the Lions where they weren't really producing enough. And so, I had to drop him. And then now you're starting to see what they were doing at the beginning of the year. So there's chances that people might pick him up. You don't want to play him next week. But if they have a good playoff schedule, you might see people pick him up and play him in the playoffs in the second and third round.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that Jared Goff slump had, Amon-Ra St. Brown was not right for a long time. And you watch him now and he looks right. And the Vikings were like targeting, like double teaming him quite a bit. But he plays in the slot, so it's kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
And who looked good? And I see he has 7 targets, and I saw his touchdown and everything was DJ Shark. Still looks like he can, like he's an aggressive player, dude. Like no wonder he's injured all the time. Like when he gets the ball, he just like immediately goes for the end zone. I thought he looked really good. But yeah, dude. So the Vikings pass rush is like non-existent. Jared Goff had 0 sack, didn't even get sacked once. And here, dude, I'm watching this, like Kirk Cousins threw for over 400 yards. And I still think that Jared Goff is, was a far superior quarterback in that game. Kirk Cousins didn't look comfortable at all. Tell you what, dude, your Aiden Hutchinson looks pretty good.
Yeah, he definitely made some plays there in the backfield.
Yeah, it was in the second half, dude. No, that's what I thought you were going to say that, like in the second. No, but you said in the back. I thought you were going to say like in the back half of that game, and it was like the second half of that game, dude.
Backfield. The
Oh
Vikings
yeah, Yeah, dude. And
Well,
then sorry, what's up?
no, you're talking about Kirk Cousins. Like, he still looked pretty good out there. I mean, he only missed 10 throws, 31 out of 41.
It's different, man, when you're watching your team, because it's like it'd be different if I wasn't a Vikings fan, you know, because I feel like they'd be so much better with somebody else.
Right.
But
Right. I
yeah,
get he
and
still
did you
had
see like
he
oh
had two
sorry, sorry, what'd you say?
he had 2 touchdowns and he still averaged 10 yards a throw. He did get sacked a few times, but could really kill a momentum of a drive. Doesn't also help. Like I think the first drive of the game, they went for it on 4th down and they didn't convert.
Yeah, well, I thought the turning point of that game was I wasn't even afraid about the, I think so it was where was it? Dalvin Cook, yeah, his jump pass. There was a minute left in the first half, and the Vikings were only down by 7. And it was exactly like that Derrick Henry play, but dude, Dalvin Cook's like what, 5'10"? Derrick Henry's like us, like 6'3". So it's like, I don't know, it just seemed like a terrible play. And Dalvin Cook, the way that he stutter stepped, looked like he'd never done that before in his life, dude.
Yeah, I don't think Dalvin Cook ever played basketball.
Well, that was the turning point of the game for me. And then like from then on forward, man, it was just like the Vikings couldn't get anything going, and it was just like a lot of like saves by Justin Jefferson and lot of bad plays by TJ Hawkinson. I don't know if he was nervous playing his old team, but I thought it was interesting, like he went on a radio show being like, "Oh, it's weird, like how does it feel like we're out trying to win games? It feels weird to say that, because he went from the Lions to the Vikings." And that was before the Buffalo Bills game, and they won that game. But now they suck, dude. So
Yeah,
funny that he got beat by his old team after saying that.
he had like 6 receptions for 77 yards on 8 targets, which isn't bad. But for some reason, when the Vikings were down by 11 points, they did some hook and ladders, throwing it back at the end of the game. He had the ball and he fumbled it.
Yeah.
Game, I don't know why. I mean, the game was pretty much over, but they still wanted to score, I guess. I don't know. So, so anybody who had TJ Hawkinson on their lineup got that random note why it happened fumble at the end of the game, and in our league that's -2 points. If he didn't have that, I mean, I would say he had a decent game. He did drop. He had a huge drop that didn't convert down on I think it was like a 3rd down, and it was huge.
Yeah, and dude, the fans let him know it. But yeah, dude, I thought TJ Hawkinson was he's been great. I mean, he's been like almost like a top 3 tight end since he joined the Vikings, and he would have got 10 points in our league if it wasn't for that fumble at the end of the game. I mean, which wasn't really his fault. So, and then, dude, Dalvin Cook. There was some stats out on Dalvin Cook, and I'm not excited about. We got a new head coach, not defensive anymore, and now all of a sudden he cannot run the ball. And dude, I cannot remember. I wish I would have wrote down that stat. But it was insane how bad that Dalvin Cook has been over like the last like 5 games.
And it's crazy that everybody was high on Dalvin Cook this year because of your new head coach.
It's been great he has turned Justin Jefferson into a Cooper Kupp, but
Oh,
I would, yeah. Dalvin Cook is like a low 2nd round running back for me right now as it is. And
yeah, he's not looking well. He got a touchdown the yesterday's game, but he ran it 15 times for 23 yards, and he had that fumble loss. He still got you under 10 points with that touchdown.
Yeah.
You can't run the ball, and all you got to do is throw it. It's hard to win games like that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty untrustworthy, but you're going to continue to start him. Dude, you go up against the Lions and you're like, Dalvin Cook, come on, man. Like you're ready for a huge game. And yeah, so I thought that sucked. So anyways, though, like going over to the rushing game on the other side. So DeAndre Swift had a 50% snap share last week, and yesterday went back down to like 30%. So again, dude, DeAndre Swift owners got promised with greatness for what, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then just got crapped on for the rest of the year. And it's not going to help. Nothing's going to change either.
Yeah. And it's not like Jamal Williams, played outstanding. He 16 rushes for 37 yards. He averaged his normal 2.3 yards per carry.
I'm gonna say he's been really average as of late.
Yeah. Um, and going with that, at least Swift got in the passing game some. You know, he did have 3 receptions for 18 yards on 4 targets, but he only had 6 rushes. That's 10 rushes less than Jamal Williams.
Yeah, dude. And then just to go back to something real fast. Sorry, I was looking through the stats and I was like, dude, when I was watching that game, I kept on thinking that Thielen looked a lot better lately, and I thought he's been doing better. He had 10 targets last 3 games, 10 targets and a touchdown, 6 targets, 8 targets and a touchdown. So Adam Thielen's actually been turning it on as of late because people gave up, put him out for dead earlier on in the season. I've noticed he's been turning it on lately. So if you're an Adam Thielen owner, I think he's flex worthy going through the playoffs.
Right. Well, when your quarterback is completing 31 receptions and he's throwing up 400 yards because they can't run the ball, I mean, just about everybody on that wide receiver squad looked good.
You're right. No, you're right about that. And Josh Reynolds, who I was all about earlier in the year, looked awesome, dude. But like, you can't trust that. And then Jameson Williams, I wanted to go back and look at that touchdown again. That was just a busted coverage. So, um, but if you want to pick him up and just see what happens for the next couple of weeks, wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, he that was like his only reception. I think he only had 2 targets.
Yeah, and he was a first round pick last year, I think, right?
Yeah,
His ACL or MCL, and he was like the top wide receiver in the draft, but he was injured, so he slipped to the Lions. They got like Penei Sewell and then that wide receiver, I think. And dude, Penei Sewell, speaking of whom, he looked so athletic, dude.
yeah,
And
that reception that he had pretty much sealed the game.
yeah, and I don't know, he's got some crazy like stats where he never allows sacks. So I mean, the Lions, dude, their last like couple years of drafting have been pretty good, and it's starting to show. I wonder if they're going to keep Dan Campbell after all this, Jason.
I haven't heard much of anything. They might see how well the offense could play when everyone is healthy.
Mm,
But they really need to focus on the defense in this draft.
yeah. So, and then I know people would probably look at Justin Jackson and saw that he got a touchdown, but dude, there's so many running backs in this offense. I don't want to start any of them, but you're going to start Jamal Williams if you are, because of the amount of touchdowns he has this year and his efficiency, like on the goal line. You're just going to start Jamal Williams, and he's touchdown dependent, always has been. And then yeah, dude, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I'm interested in DJ Shark, dude, because I've always been a huge DJ Shark fan because I owned him when he was in Jacksonville and he was awesome. So I think he's worth watching. But every week starters, Amon Ra and Jared Goff. I think you're fine starting Jared Goff after next week.
Yeah, just don't start them next week. I think Ahmad St. Brown might have a good game next week because he's the slot guy. He's not going to be covered by Sauce Gardner, hot
Yeah,
sauce.
I was wondering if who's Sauce going to cover. I wanted to go back and see if he actually covers slot receivers, but I'm pretty sure I heard he just covers outside.
Yeah, I don't think he covers slot receivers.
So Amon Ra is probably a lock at least because everything's short. He's gonna just get so many targets.
Yep.
And then yeah, going forward on the other side, dude, Justin Jefferson, I'm gonna pick up first round draft pick next year. And then Kirk Cousins, dude, I dropped Kirk Cousins because he was being so consistent a couple weeks ago, and I think you're still in the same boat.
He threw up who they play last week?
Dude, I don't remember. I have to blow this up.
They play the Patriots.
Oh yeah, here. I could just click this. Duh. It's crazy having computers in front of my face, Jason. They went against the Jets the Jets so they've gone against, dude. Look at the last teams they've gone against. The Jets, New England, Dallas, and Buffalo. But then you're like, you think they're going to break out of it against the Detroit? And they had like they had a really bad game against Detroit.
Yeah.
Sucks.
But Justin Jefferson's still getting his. He had like two defenses cornerbacks on him. three defensive backs on him, and he was still, dude, he was so fun just to watch in that game. Like that dude is a bad boy.
Yeah,
He's a
and
bad.
he looks young. You know, you see Tyreek Hill, he doesn't look like super young. Like I want Justin Jefferson, dude. He just looks like he can get folded in half and pop right back up.
Right
Uh,
now, right now, Justin Jefferson, first overall pick.
I'm picking him or Travis Kelce, and Travis Kelce's kind of falling off a cliff. And I want to
Tell,
go with you anyways.
tell me a running back you would get over Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't want. I'm just gonna not draft running backs next year. I'm just gonna get every single rookie running back next year. That's it.
I like that gameplay.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I wish I could get Kelce second round, but he's gonna be a first rounder. And then I just saw a stat on Mark Andrews, dude. Mark Andrews right now, like, there's no difference between like tight end 2 and 32. And dude, it is insane. Mark Andrews is having like the worst year for where he is drafted right now. The difference between him and Kelce is like world changing. So, anyways, that's all I have to say about that game, Jason.
All right, one last stat I want to throw out there is that Jared Goff, he threw it to 9 people during that game. He was spreading it all over.
Yeah, they were showing the leading receivers on that game, and the list was like this long.
Yeah, and so was the rushing. There was like 7 players who rushed the ball. They
Yeah,
just
dude.
they played pretty smart. They played pretty smart last week against the Vikings.
Yeah, man. No, that was good. Anyways, next game, Jason. The Jaguars versus the Titans. Did you watch this game, actually?
Yeah. So going into this game, one of my thoughts for the Jags is like, are we seeing a Trevor Lawrence be a QB1? Yeah. Is it
Dude, Trevor
possible?
Lawrence looked amazing.
And then on the other side for the Titans, I just wanted to see if Derrick Henry is going to get back on track.
So, Jason, you remember when I was like, hey, before the preseason started, I was like top 5 quarterback receiver stacks that won't hurt your team. You know who my number 1 stack was?
Was it Trevor Lawrence and Ingram?
And I did not, I thought they would be good. I didn't think they'd be this good, man. But watching Ingram is good, man. Like everybody was talking about him, like he should be one of the best tight ends in the league. Like his physical, his physical attributes are off the charts and blah blah blah. Yeah, dude. And he doesn't even look like that physical of a guy anymore. He just looks like he runs smooth routes and catches the ball. But he's like a number 2 tight end right now. So he only got 30 yards last week, but 7 targets and then 1 touchdown. So, dude, the last 2 weeks, he's been better than almost Travis Kelce. He has been better than Travis Kelce the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think he put up 30 points in our league. And that's almost like helping you win the week, like it did for my dad. This is something that I think this was probably his best game in his career. But this is what everyone was expecting. We wanted more of it throughout the season. This game against the Titans, I don't know why it was like this. Maybe it was just game plan that Titans have a little trouble against the tight end position. But one thing I did notice too is that like his route running was great. He was catching everything. He was making jump balls, and also when Trevor Lawrence had to like run in and out of the pocket, and he was just like throwing the ball, it was like Ingram was right there. It was like his guy that he was throwing the ball to on a scramble play, which helped him out a lot too. And he had a lot of yards after catch. This is what we wanted all year. This is what we all wanted all year with him.
Yeah, like Zay Jones' touchdown had a lot of luck to it. It was a pass deflection. It was amazing. I started Zay Jones, but like when I noticed from Evan Ingram, nothing seemed lucky. It was just everything was just routine. So I think that if Trevor Lawrence is going to succeed this year, like I think that he's going to have to heavily utilize Evan Ingram, and Evan Ingram might go on a roll like these next 3 weeks. Seriously, I'm not even kidding, dude. That just might. I would start him over anybody not named Travis Kelce right now.
There's a good chance he has a big game next week too because he goes against the Cowboys.
Because he goes against the Cowboys, and they're kind of a similar defense. Good pass rush. The Titans. I like the Titans defense, and it was just, dude, Titans the last couple of weeks been falling apart.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jason, and then if you're an ETN owner, you see this, dude, you're like, oh my God, the quarterback just blew up, and my pass catching running back is not doing anything.
Yeah, I don't even think he had a reception. I don't believe he did. I think he had some goose eggs in that department, and his rushing total wasn't great either. I mean, the Titans do have a pretty good run defense, but he was the one person that it did not look good for. Trevor Lawrence threw the ball 42 times, and for some reason, I didn't write down his yards.
368.
368 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he even ran a touchdown in, and he stiff armed the guy. I mean, it wasn't like a Derrick Henry; it was more just like a.
Right.
But that's extra point. That's 6 points for a rushing touchdown from your QB.
Dude, no, yeah, I mean, and so he's supposed to be like this. So it's funny because the last game he went against Detroit, and he only had 180 yards and 1 touchdown. So, but before that, dude, 320 yards and 3 touchdowns versus Baltimore. Oh, 260, 2 touchdowns versus Kansas City. So other than that stinker against Detroit, which I don't understand what's happening right now with that. That's when I started that stack against you, Jason. Yeah, that's why they sucked. They're like, oh, Tyler Ward's starting him, man. You throw the game, throw the game, throw the game.
Yeah.
You can't win at fantasy. Sorry, dude. But yeah, so I would love to start. I would start Trevor Lawrence with Evan Ingram. No problem.
Yeah, Zay Jones had 15 targets. Zay Jones had 12 targets. Ingram had 15 targets. And even Christian Kirk had 7 targets. He had 5 receptions for 45 yards. He was just airing it out, and he couldn't be stopped. Trevor Lawrence, he looked pretty damn good in a divisional game. On the other side, Derrick Henry did look like the old Derrick Henry. He had 121 yards. He averaged 7.1 yards per carry. He even had 3 receptions for 34 yards. But that dude fumbled the ball twice.
Dude, that guy, and that was a crazy fumble. That fumble like cost them the game. You know what, here, before I get into that, let's see, where is it? I want to tell you a little bit about something else. But yeah, dude, Henry fumble. It was 13-14. The Titans were leading by 1 with 2 minutes left in the first half. And he fumbled that ball. And then the Jaguars go right down and get that lucky, with 10 seconds left, get that touchdown to Zay Jones. And then they get the ball again to start the first half, score. The game was over, dude. So like that Henry fumble, I swear, like was a turning point of that game.
Yeah, and then when they're run back and they had a botch, crazy, direct snap play to Derrick Henry, and he lost the ball again.
Yeah, because I was like, I started Derrick Henry and only got 17 points in our league, and I was like, dude, he should have. How did this guy only get 17 points? Then I actually got to watch the game, and I was like, oh my God, dude. As good as he is, like he looks really stiff, man. There's 7 minutes left, but like he doesn't take as like when he got hit, dude. When he fumbled, it was from a hit. Like he got hit almost like early on in the year when he was like didn't have any feet on the ground. But I just feel like he's just not like he doesn't seek as much punishment as he did in the last couple of years, man. He's not like, just trying to lower his head and run through people anymore. I feel like he's trying to get away from people. And he's been fumbling the ball and doing some weird stuff. I think that's like he fumbled the ball last week too, I want to say. So not good. But at the same time, Derrick Henry, top 5 running back next year.
Yeah, because you're going to have those games where he puts up 120 points and a touchdown, or 120 yards and a touchdown.
220 yards and 3 touchdowns. I think that happened once, maybe. That's
Yeah.
I don't even think I won that game either.
They're but how long before all these carries every season, all these rushings are going to beat him up, where they either going to start getting hurt every other play, or they're going to start cutting his workload.
Yeah, well, I did notice that the Jaguars defense looked pretty good this game. Like they were getting after Ryan Tannehill. Their front seven looked pretty good, but at the same time, Derrick Henry ran all over him. And then going into this game, they kept on talking about the coaches were like, oh, I won't say his first name, but Okonkwo, I think he's a rookie tight end for them.
Yeah,
So, dude, they've been talking about, hey, we need to get him more involved. We need to get him more involved. I think he got a touchdown last week. And yeah, draft info. Yeah, he's a 4th round draft pick this year. And no, this was the first touchdown. He had 5 targets for 68 yards last week. And now, they said they were going to get him more involved. He looked really good. He kind of looks like a David Njoku body type, just like super jacked. Not the tall, lanky tight end, but just like the super jacked ones.
that's good.
Yeah, as far as durability goes, but I think he's somebody that you should pick up on waivers.
His touchdown was a helmet catch. It was like one handed up against his head and ran it in.
And it was a red zone. It was a red zone target. They were like on the goal line, pretty much almost.
Yeah,
So
this
I
was
thought that was awesome.
this was definitely a tight end game when you had Ingram doing his work for the Jacksonville. Austin Hooper led the team in receiving yards, and the guy's crazy name.
Okonkwo.
Let me see if I can pronounce this. Shigozium Onkokwo.
Okonkwo.
Okonkwo. He
Yeah.
had 6 receptions on 6 targets, 45 yards. He
Yeah,
had
both
over,
tight ends. Oh, sorry.
no, you're fine. He had over double-digit points. The next person up was Robert Woods, who had 5 receptions for 49 yards. This was definitely a tight end game on both sides.
Yeah, and if I wanted to choose a tight end going forward on the Titans, I would like Okonkwo just for upside. So, but it just sucks. It's the wrong time of the year to be messing around with upside.
Yeah.
Uh, and then, yeah, dude, Christian Kirk. I just wanted to hit that real fast. His last like 5 games, dude. Because I was gonna say, don't be discouraged by Christian Kirk. So he had 7 targets this game, 8 targets. So 8 targets game before, 9 targets game before that, 12 targets game before that, 9 targets. Dude, he's like averaging like 10 targets a game over like 5 weeks. I would continue to start him. He just had 100 yards last week, so don't be discouraged by all this Evan Ingram talk. I would still like to start Christian Kirk.
I think it's either, when it comes to wide receivers for that team, it's either going to be Zay Jones or Chris. I think they flip.
Oh yeah.
Philadelphia. Flip, Philadelphia.
All right, Jason. And then yeah, so on the other side, dude, I'm starting Evan Ingram over, like I said, over anybody over than Travis Kelce. I think Zay Jones, you better start him going forward. He's only had 1 stinker. It was when I went against Jason. So that's the only reason why. And then Christian Kirk. So there's 3 receivers I would not mind starting on Jacksonville, which is pretty crazy.
They got a true test next week.
Yeah. And then Treylon Burks, he was in concussion protocol this week. If he's out on your waivers, go pick him up. I mean, he got that 1 touchdown that first drive or second drive, whatever, last week, and got concussed. But he's been really good as of late, and you can start him if you have to in the playoffs in your flex.
I like that. I like that call.
Yeah.
You can see him this game where there was really not much passing going around to the wide receivers.
They need that big deep threat, man, because it's just Robert Woods, and it's just not happening. So, anyways, Jason, we have 2 minutes. You want to talk about anything?
Tannehill did throw for 254 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he also had a fumble loss. He's kind of slowed down there for a bit. I think don't really play this guy until Treylon Burks comes back.
Yeah, I know. There's better options out there.
If you need to.
Dude, Jared Goff. If Jared Goff was out there, pick him up.
Rather had Jared Goff.
Oh, yeah, dude. So, all right, guys. Take a short commercial break, and we will be right back. We back, Jason. We back. Anyways, Hope you guys enjoyed that short break. It's almost like it never even happened. So we just talked about the Vikings and the Lions and the Jags and the Titans, and now we're going to go on to the Panthers and the Seahawks. Jason, did you have to watch this game?
Yeah. Going to this game, see how Sam Darnold was going to play in a hostile environment. We're going to talk about that. And then I wanted to see for the Seahawks who's going to take over Kenneth Skywalker's duties. And what I saw is that the Panthers were doing more of managing the game and relying on their defense, which I didn't think it was going to happen. And yeah. I didn't think that would, I don't know. Football is so crazy, man. Football is so crazy. And then no one really took over the role for Kenneth Walker. I mean, I have where Travis Homer only got the ball. He led 9 times. 9 times. He was a leading rusher. 26 yards, 0 touchdowns.
Yeah, and Adam Schefter, the person that I hate the most in this world. Nah, there's more people I hate, but he's on the list. He came out and said that what's his name, Tony Jones Jr. was going to be the starter instead of Travis Homer, and he dropped that bomb like right before the game. I'm pretty sure he was playing the guy that playing somebody that he wanted to pick up, Tony Jones Jr. and start him. So I even commented on my little thing. I was like, hey, Tony Jones Jr. is going to start this week because Adam Schefter's been right all year when it comes to that kind of stuff. But yeah, dude, Travis Homer went in there, and all I could hear, because I follow the games on Reddit, everybody was just complaining, like, dude, Travis Homer killed my week, ruined my week, ruined my playoff chances. Like, how is this guy so bad? So I didn't get to really watch a lot of this game with my own eyes, but I was paying attention to it, and it did not sound good for him.
Yeah, their running game wasn't great, but also the Panthers, they shot out to a 10-point lead early.
I saw that.
Yeah, they took it down, scored a touchdown, and then I think it was Seattle's first drive. Geno Smith did a weird rollout play, and he got the ball intercepted. He started the game off -2 points in our league, and then the Panthers were able to take it down and I can't remember. They either kicked the field goal first and scored a touchdown, or scored a touchdown then kicked the field goal. But starting from there, they were already 10 points in the hole.
Yeah, yeah, because when I got to watch the highlights, and man, I was like, dude, Carolina's defense is looking good. They're running the ball. They're doing all the play action stuff, and like Sam Darnold's just making these like easy completions, just like tight end rollouts on play action passes on the end zone, stuff like that. I think that was a Shi Smith touchdown. Yeah, that was the one I watched. That just just very simple offense, but it was working. Then I see Geno Smith, man, and like he was missing on some throws in the beginning, and that was a bad interception. And then like he turned it on and then started making some amazing throws, dude. Like the Marquise Goodwin, I think that was broken coverage. I can't remember which one I saw that. I was like, holy crap, dude, that was a good throw. But I was actually kind of worried that Geno was turning into a pumpkin, But he's actually he just had a very slow start this game. And then like that was pretty much what determined the game, was the slow start.
Yeah, this definitely wasn't his best outing, and I think he scored a touchdown there in garbage time that really probably saved some fantasy managers.
Yeah, dude, if you started Geno Smith, you're super happy. Like I said, I mean, he had 20 yards. He almost led in rushing too,
Yeah.
So I think a big part of their success, I mean, it just shows how good Kenneth Walker was, in this offense, getting what he got. But they need some more if they're going to make it, because they're going to make the playoffs. They need Kenneth Walker to come back healthy. And then on the other side, dude, like the running game on the other side, when Chuba Hubbard first came out, I was all about getting Chuba Hubbard over Deonta Foreman. And Chuba Hubbard had that, he still has like a brace on his arm and stuff, but he looked really good.
Yeah, they I'm a Foreman owner, and Foreman's been doing the work for the past like 6 games. And the one thing I had concern about with him was, all right, he was on the injury report with rib and a foot. But then when he came off the injury report, I was like, okay, maybe he's going to be all good. But they put Hubbard in there, and I'm like, okay, are they going to really rely on Hubbard now for some weird reason? Or are they going, was this just kind of like a pitch count for Devontae Foreman? Because what I saw, this is how it really was. I saw Devontae Foreman was there on first down. And then Hubbard was in there for second and third down.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at this. Hubbard had 17 carries for 65 yards last week versus Denver. So it's 2 weeks in a row, man. 17 carries, 14 carries. And when both of them were healthy, right when they traded Christian McCaffrey, Chuba had the start, but it was a 50-50 time split. So because Chuba is obviously the better pass catcher, but I like Deontay Foreman for the goal lines and stuff. And they're not going to stop running the ball anytime soon. But it sucks for Deontay Foreman owners like yourself. And is Chuba going to be startable? I think so. I think Chuba and Deontay are both flexes right now if they're going to 50-50 it.
This was a very frustrating game. Luckily, I won this week and I didn't have to rely on this touchdown vulture by Hubbard. Well, it was first and goal at like the 6-yard line. They went Foreman to the 1-yard line, Hubbard. I was like,
yeah.
Are you kidding me?
That sucks, dude. And then Blackshear got a touchdown too, and he looked great.
Yeah, he got that, like a 10-yard touchdown. Around that time, I don't even think Foreman was really in. He already had, I think, about 18 rushes at that point. He ended the game with 21. They used him on the drive afterward to kind of like draw out the clock. Hubbard did have a good, he had a better average than Foreman. Foreman got stuffed quite a few times at the goal line, which, is going to mess up his yards per carry. And I think they actually played pretty good run defense. It wasn't until the very end where I saw Hubbard, he had like a 10 and a 12-yard run there towards the end when they were trying to run out the clock, and he looked really good. His touchdown that he scored, oh my gosh. Why he had the ball and he was like trying to stretch it. I thought that thing was getting knocked.
I remember that. I saw that one. That was the last thing I finished up before I started this call with you. Was that touchdown. But yeah, dude. And then right now I'm looking at what's his name? Sam Darnold's yards. So he had 19 attempts last week. He had 24 attempts this week. So what does this mean for the Panthers pass catchers, DJ Moore and everything else? I don't think that you can start literally during the fantasy playoffs. You're only going to start Hubbard and Foreman on this team.
Yeah, absolutely.
And their defense.
And their defense. Well, I guess I was seeing who they want to play against. But then again, I mean, Seattle's offense has been like they're in the top 5 in scoring this year, and they didn't look like it at home against Carolina. So you might be on to something there, Chief.
Well, Carolina's always, they've had a good defense for a while now. And I think last year their defense was surprisingly good. And they've had spurts this year where they've had good defense. And right now they seem to be, just watching them, it looked really good. And the way they run the ball protects their defense so much. But dude, Sam Darnold, like literally, it's going to be like a rookie playing quarterback right now. It's a crazy thing. He was what, number 1 overall draft pick or number 2? Can't remember what he was. Was he number 1 or number 2?
He might have been number 1.
Well, no, Baker Mayfield number 1, Sam Darnold number 2.
The Jets.
That's right. And they were on the same team this year.
And he took Geno Smith's job because Geno Smith was a Jet.
That's good.
And then they played against each other, and Sam Darnold won. USC, go baby, go.
Yeah. And then but Jason, Marquise Goodwin, he's been up and down all season. You don't want to pick him up, but DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett continue to be supported by 9 and 10 targets, dude.
This is every week. This is every week with them. I think Marquise Goodwin, he's too inconsistent. I don't know when to play him. I don't know when there's an injured Lockett or Metcalf, you play him, but Instead of that, Metcalf and Lockett, they do their thing.
Dude, Lockett last 5 weeks in a row has a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So I mean,
Yeah.
he had 5 targets for a couple of those games, but he's had over 5 targets and a touchdown. That's insane.
His touchdown against the Panthers was a little toe tap in the end zone. It was beautiful.
So really, I mean, you're not getting those boom games from Lockett like you would, 3 touchdown, 200-yard games like Russell Wilson would give him. But hey, man, he's been taken care of. I'm looking at DK Metcalf, 10 targets, 8 targets, 15 targets, 9 targets, like 3 touchdowns in the last 5. Dude, Geno Smith has been more than great for Seattle and their fantasy assets.
Yeah, he's been really spreading the ball around, which is helping everybody. This game, Goodwin, 6 targets, Metcalf, 10 targets, Lockett, 9 targets.
Oh, I see it. So anyways, I think I covered everything I want there except for, yeah, dude, because you're not starting any receivers for them. I was gonna say, where is DJ Moore? Oh, I thought he was injured. No, he had 3 targets for 0 yards, man. Oh my God. This is not good, Jason.
I think like the only time you're ever going to play a wide receiver for them is when you know they're going to have to throw a ball against a high scoring offense. But then again, I kind of thought that's what we were going to go into last week, but their defense did pretty well against Seattle.
And then DJ Moore has had 30 yards or less for 4 out of the last 5 games. But last week he had 103 yards and a touchdown versus Denver. So I'm still benching DJ Moore, dude. If I'm in the playoffs, I'm benching that fool.
Don't even think about it. Put him on the bench.
Seriously. If you want to try to win a championship.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to win.
So, Jason, I think that's all I have for that game. I was kind of on to Noah Fant being a thing, but being this is rookie year and it was he was just barely coming on. I thought maybe he'd get rolling. He only got 1 target this game. I would not want to pick him up for any of the playoffs. It's playoff time, so you don't want to be gambling.
Nope. Don't even worry about it. Forget about it.
Yeah, because I took him off I'm taking a lot of the riskier, hold and see type of players off my waiver show. So anyways, next up, Jason. I know there wasn't a lot to talk about that one, but it was interesting. I thought it was an interesting game. And then, dude, this game was crazy. The Chargers and the Dolphins. I'm sure everybody watched this.
Yeah. Going to this game, Dolphins lost against the 49ers last week. I wanted to see how the Dolphins offense was going to play against the Niners defense last week. This week, I wanted to see the same thing because of how bad the Chargers defense is. And Darwin James was out. So I wanted to see if they were going to be able to bounce back. And then I wanted to see this is the first time since week 1 or 2 that we had a healthy Chargers wide receiver squad, right? Keenan Allen's been out with a hamstring. Mike Williams has been out with his ankle. Now they're all back and they're a happy family again. And I want to see how the outcome was going to be. I started Mike Williams on my flex. And I like that I did that.
He was my must start of the week, Jason. I thought you must start him because you've been waiting all this time for him. This is all you're going to get.
Yep. And so far, he wasn't carted off the field.
I saw him on the sidelines once, and I was like, "Oh no!"
Oh my gosh, he did some run, and then he tripped and fell, and I was like, his ankle.
But I think I heard somebody say that this was his the first time the Keenan Allen and Mike Williams have finished a game together this year. So I mean that helped, and you see what it does for Justin Herbert. So Justin Herbert made some amazing throws last night, and then this morning I was hearing that if Sean Payton wants to return to coaching, he wants to coach in LA, preferably. So conveniently, Justin Herbert just lights the world on fire. And then he wants to make it known that he probably wants to coach him. So I'm guessing Brandon Staley had a great game plan, dude. I thought that the Chargers played amazing versus the it was the first time where I didn't see Tyreek Hill and Waddle get so much space. Like the cornerbacks were actually taking away space, like playing up on the corner on the wide receivers. And I thought that made a big difference. I don't know if you noticed any of that, Jason.
I noticed that yeah, like Tua has some. He was not very accurate this game, but also the cornerbacks for the Chargers played excellent, excellent. Dad, they played good. They played very, very, very good. I don't know what accent that was.
You said excellent. I said excelente. I mean,
I
it
know.
sounds like people from our hometown.
um, yeah, and I mean, one thing that I did kind of notice is that Tyreek Hill, everyone knows he's the cheetah. He's the fastest person on the freaking planet. So why do man to man when you can do zone? You
Right.
know, I think they switched up to zone a lot to kind of hide the the slant routes over the middle. Chris Collinsworth, he mentioned multiple times how good Tua is throwing the ball in the middle to his wide receivers. They shut that down. They shut that down. They had the middle pretty much covered, and they put a. I don't think Tua got sacked once, but they put a lot of pressure on Tua this whole game.
Yeah, Tua got sacked twice.
Okay, he got sacked twice. They were getting the ball to him, or they were getting players to him. They were making him very uncomfortable, and you could tell the whole game. I think there was a time he was 2 and 11. I think out of the first 11 throws, he only had like 2 completions.
And same with and that was without Joey Bosa.
Yeah,
So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, dude. I mean, this is like so almost 3 bad games for Tua in a row.
yeah. I don't know what the deal was with this game. The one thing I could definitely think about is that they gave up on running the ball real early, and their offensive line looked like garbage.
So I'm looking at Tua's stuff, right? It does. But ever since Armstead got injured, right? He's been getting so Houston got 4 sacks, and that was the beginning of Tua's downfall. The 2 games before that, amazing. He had a perfect passer rating versus Cleveland and Chicago. He wasn't sacked once. 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards. And then, dude, he started getting sacked 4 times, 3 times, 2 times. Last 3 games, he's been bad. So the only thing was to me was, man, like it looked like it was more than just sacks and pressure. Like his feet weren't set, and he was like throwing these weird like ducks, the lobby duck throws, and they weren't even close. I was telling you, it looked like what's Tyreek Hill? Tyreek Hill was throwing the wrong route, was running the wrong route, so it was so bad.
Yeah, it was the only. I thought the wide receivers would have a bigger game against this defense, but the defense showed up. Home they played pretty well. I went up against Jalen Waddle, so I was really watching him. He only had what
Four
one, two,
targets.
were 2 receptions for 31 yards. Tyreek Hill ended up having a 60-yard touchdown, which kind of it's weird, right? Because that really saved his game, but he also had a fumble recovery for a touchdown, which was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen because it was like another 6-yarder. But you only get the 6 points for the
That was like a
touchdown.
punt return. It was like a punt return touchdown.
We don't do the whole yards thing, so he was able to save fantasy managers with that. But this was not a good look for people who were starting Waddle. Jeff Wilson Jr., who left the game with I want to say it looked like a hip, a knee,
Dude, I don't know, but
and he also fumbled.
yeah, that's like 2 weeks in a row for him with bad games.
So
So
people this high power, these players on these high power offense might go to regret that if they needed help getting into the fantasy playoffs.
And so you were talking about Waddle, dude. Waddle, I think was tied with somebody else for the highest odds of getting, the props or whatever, like Vegas props of getting a touchdown every week.
First touchdown. I've seen
Yeah,
that
so
a lot.
he hasn't had a touchdown in a month. 4 weeks, no touchdown.
Yeah. Well, you could definitely see it when Tua is only thrown for 145 yards, and 60 of that went to one play to Tyreek Hill.
Dude. so like I didn't make the fantasy playoffs, but I had Tua this year, and Tua is one of my best players. And so like after these 2 weeks, and you're looking and watching him with my own eyes, it's like, dude, he does not look good. And he looked amazing. He does not look like the same player at all. Um, but it's almost like, how do you not start him, because you know Tyreek Hill's going to do well? It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's tough. And their schedule, I think they're playing Buffalo this next week, and then
Yep.
like, dude, it's not good. And then they've got to do some other things. I know the
Well,
end of the year schedule is pretty rough.
remember they did give the Bills the first loss this season. It was played in Miami, out of
Yeah,
Buffalo, where it's a little bit colder.
yeah, and that's when their offensive line was like all the way healthy. That it's just not right now. Um, so, but what I did get out of it was Justin Herbert is much is because remember they were drafted in the same draft class, and people were like, "Oh, I don't know, man, Justin Herbert, maybe Tua is better than Justin this year." No, dude, Justin Herbert's a better quarterback.
Yeah, he threw the ball 51 times. He
I
was
know.
wheeling.
And did you see some of those throws he made? Like he made this one to Keenan Allen, like, and they pointed at each other. There was like, you're the man. No, you're the man.
You, no, you, not me. You. All right, me and you. Yeah, that
What's that off of? That's off of a movie, right?
no, no, me,
you,
you, you.
you.
It's
That's off of something, man. I can't remember what that is.
at the office.
Maybe I wish we had like a million people watch this so I could ask him a question. I
Hey,
gotta
Chad,
Google it.
where's that from?
How am I supposed to Google that? Like me, you, me, you, me.
Dude, that is the office. Yeah, him and Dwight. It's him and Dwight doing it.
Dude, I would think that would remind me.
He's like,
Uh,
me, you, me.
Anyways, sorry, Jason. But yeah, dude, I noticed that Josh Kelly was, doing pretty well as a backup. But if you take away that, I think I only watched that 22-yard run. But Austin Eckler, dude, like moved the pile. I thought Austin Eckler had a good game considering he did terrible as far as efficiency goes.
Well, he's been a man that's getting his receiving yards and catches, and that's very important. His rushing yards have not been great this year. Only 45 out of 15 attempts. That's like 3 yards per carry. But once again, 8 catches, 59 yards on 8 targets. That's okay by me.
Yeah. And I thought this was a super Keenan Allen game. Uh like when I had him and he was doing great last year, it'd be like 12 for 90. That's great, man. Like give that to me every single game. I would take that every single game.
I think something that people should see too is that he got a lot of those receptions towards the end when they were trying to close it out. Justin Herbert, the one person that he was going to that he trusts a lot was Keenan Allen.
Oh yeah. And then Mike Williams caught all of his targets and came out healthy. So guess what, dude? You get to start him again next week and probably get a really good game out of him. Right? You need it, Jason. I forget who we were just talking about. Oh yeah, you got a 50-50 time split with your Panthers running back, so this will help you.
Bro, I mean, am I going to start Foreman? Am I going to start Brian Robinson Jr. against the Giants again? Am I going to start that Philadelphia Knight from the Jets?
I would start Zadarius Knight out of all those.
I didn't start
But
him this week. I didn't think he'd do well against the Bills, and then he did. He did great.
yeah, I know. Michael Carter was back there too, but Michael Carter still had 7 targets, so I'd probably be. I don't know what I would do actually. I'd have to think about it a little bit more.
I think
Uh,
bench until I see some more. So I see less of Hubbard. I want to see less
right.
of. And I'm thinking about either going Zadea, whatever his name is, Knight, and or Brian Robinson. Not that Brian Robinson Jr. is like great, but he's been doing better. He had a good game against the Giants last week in New York. Now he's going to be home after a bye week against that Giants team again.
And the Giants, I mean, Saquon Barkley's kind of hobbled. Blackwell came back, or Brightwell that came back and did pretty good. I'm looking at right now, Greg or Jason. I'm looking at Gerald Everett, and I was just thinking, hey, Gerald Everett still got 8 targets even with everybody back healthy, but that was throwing the ball so many times. And I'm looking at his stats, like he hasn't caught a touchdown in forever. So I think if Mike Williams and Keenan Allen's healthy, you could probably, I mean, if you have to start Gerald Everett, you can, but you could go elsewhere.
Yeah, I think those touchdowns are going to be going to other places. You got Allen, Williams, Eckler, and you know what? Palmer still had 6 targets,
I was
53.
surprised. Yeah, the return of Keenan Allen really kills DeAndre Carter because Carter is kind of like that role.
Yeah,
And yeah, dude. So I mean, Chargers on the way up. Miami's on their way down, and it's Miami's just kind of frustrating because it's like, dude, who do you start? Like, because you're going to start. So the Chargers, you're starting Justin Herbert, you're starting Austin Eckler, you're starting Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and you could probably, if you have to, if you want to roll the dice, put a Joshua Palmer as your flex if you're in a little bit deeper league. So I mean, there's a lot of starters on there, and then you go over here, and it's like, dude, do I start Jalen Waddle? This fool's gotten like 8 points or less for a month. And then like Tyreek Hill is a lock no matter what. And then who's running the ball now, dude? I mean, you could start Raheem Mostert, but it's like, oh my God, they're going against the Bills next week.
I ain't starting them.
That's crazy, dude. So yeah, I mean, Mostert got a couple touchdowns, like cut like 4 weeks ago, he got a touchdown, then 3 weeks ago, he got a touchdown, but he's had 30 yards and nothing for the last couple of weeks. It's just because this is the time where you want to be sure of what you're doing. And
And
you
that's
just, yeah, it's like you have to win every week. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to start my studs. Like, yeah, like maybe like that'll make you feel better if you lose. But hey, man, like if you want to actually put up some points, you might have to do some funky stuff this week.
I might have to do that. I got something to do. My wide receivers are set. It's more of my running backs. I kind of wish Joe Mixon would go out so I could play Piran.
Dude, Samaje Perine, man. Yeah, no kidding. I was even looking at on my waiver wire show, dude, like the running backs are dried up. I mean, Zonovan Knight, Jordan Mason, like Gary Brightwell. Who else is out there right now? I need to look.
We're getting that towards the end of the year.
And if
we're getting
Saquon didn't start, dude, that Brightwell would be pretty awesome.
pick them up and plug them in.
Yeah. So scary stuff for the Dolphins. And if you watch that game, dude, it's like the stats pretty much match up with what you saw. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I really wanted Tua to do well this year, man. I love Josh McDaniels. That was a disappointing game for me.
Josh McDaniels.
Oh, sorry. Mike McDaniels. And then you know what's crazy? I mean, it's like I'm acting like the Dolphins just got blown out of the sky. Look at the score.
They almost won. It also came down to an onside kick that they almost got.
Oh yeah, that's right. They almost dropped that. Dude, Chargers gonna Charger. I was listening to what's his name? Chris Long today on the Rich Eisen show, and he was like, hey man, I want to be a believer of the Chargers, especially after last night, dude. But they continually to try to lose games. Like they tried to lose games, like actively at the end of the games. So he was going through a bunch of it last night, how it kind of happened. And that was one of them. So I thought that was interesting that you said that. He also said the best team in the league is the Eagles, Jason. So
yeah, I mean, when you got the best record by a few games, with the Vikings losing again, and yeah, they're the best. They're simply the best.
They're simply the best.
That kills me to say.
The Eagles are the very best.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, dude. Well, hey, we got through those two games super fast for some reason.
Yeah,
it's pretty straightforward.
Well, that the Panthers Seattle game, there wasn't really much going on in the air game for the Panthers, and then there wasn't really much going in the running game for Seattle. Then we come here, really much going anything with the Dolphins.
Right. Yeah.
But
so
running games because there's a lot of fantasy players on there that managers are starting. So be wary of what you said, the players from Miami, except Hill. Hill could probably go in the first round next year as a draft pick. And if you got Charger players, looks like they could go up as long as they stay healthy.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And remember when I was talking about the Chargers, like, man, the Chargers defense are going to be top 5 or going to be the top defense by the end of the first month of the year. Because I was just listening to what everybody was saying, but they got injured. But man, like they put it together sometimes. I don't know how they're going to be in the playoffs, but they could make a run in the playoffs, I think. So I'm thinking about real football, you know, like not just fantasy. I'm just thinking like, dude, the Chargers, I mean, they're 7-6. They're in the AFC. They could do that.
Yep. Now they got the tiebreaker over the Dolphins.
Yeah, no kidding, huh? I mean, dude, yeah, the Dolphins are 8-5 now. That's crazy. And that's 2 weeks in a row. Remember, we never lost a game where Tua started the whole game. That's 2 weeks in a row right now. Yeah, dude, that's just crazy. Sorry, I hate looking at stats of this game because I just get disappointed.
I think we're done.
Yeah. Anyways, if you made it to the end, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And we're gonna be coming out with the waiver wire show tomorrow at some time. Or wait, is that tomorrow, Jason? Yeah, that is tomorrow.
Yeah. No. Tuesday's a day off. Comes out Wednesday morning. You got the waiver wire.
Yeah. No, I do waiver wire tomorrow morning. I've got to shoot that show tonight so I can release that tomorrow morning. So get ready for that. This is the most important week in fantasy football. Like right now, you're not planning. Jason, do we have buys in our league? So there you go, dude. Unless you're on buys, time to focus up, man. And don't just listen to us. You make your own decisions because this is the time you can listen to us or listen to other people through the year. But like right now, dude, you're gonna have to live with your decisions for months and months and months. So just listen to your heart. And,
no, man,
collect the tears.
You listen to you don't play with your heart, you play with your brain.
Yeah, and when you're done, collect your tears.
If I was listening to my heart, I would play everybody from the Cowboys.
Yeah, man, dude. If I played everybody from the Vikings, I'd probably be in like third place or something right now.
Yeah, win it for you.
I know, right? All right, guys. Hey, thank you so much. It's a fantasy football show, and we will see you next time.